They were among the most ruthless and destructive paramilitary organizations in history. During the Second World War, they were responsible for the deaths and executions of millions. The SS were the Reich's executioners. They were the death squads tasked with eliminating those who resisted Nazism. They staffed the concentration camps. They sent innocent men, women, and children into the gas chambers. Yet the SS were not confined to the shadows. They also fought on the battlefield. The military wing of the organization, the Waffen-SS, earned a reputation as some of the most determined, dangerous, and ferocious soldiers of the war. The Allies knew this well. If an SS soldier was captured, there was a strong chance a war criminal stood among the prisoners. In the final months of the war, especially after D-Day, captured SS men were sometimes shot by Allied forces. This, technically, was itself a war crime. But the SS were no less hateful toward their own side. They did not reserve their contempt solely for Germany's enemies. At times, they openly despised the regular German army, the Wehrmacht. The Wehrmacht was steeped in long military traditions. Many in the SS believed it was outdated, conservative, and inferior. In their view, the army was years behind the SS in effectiveness and ideological commitment. This mutual hostility defined the relationship between the SS and the Wehrmacht. It was a relationship shaped not by unity, but by rivalry, ideological contempt, and competition for power. Even at the highest levels of a Nazi state, conflict was constant. Within Hitler's inner circle, military leaders and SS chiefs fought relentlessly for influence. Men like Wilhelm Keitel, head of the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht, the German High Command, became infamous for their unquestioning obedience to Hitler. He was widely seen as the dictator's loyal servant. By contrast, Heinrich Himmler, head of the SS, sought constantly to elevate his organization's status and authority. Clashes between Himmler, army leaders, and other officials were frequent. Nazi propaganda projected an image of a single, disciplined war machine. The reality inside the Third Reich was far more fractured. The SS did not merely distrust the Wehrmacht. At times, they spied on it. SS intelligence networks monitored military officials who were, on paper, allies. One of the deepest sources of conflict was ideology. The Wehrmacht was the descendant of the Imperial German Army. Its officer corps was largely conservative, nationalist, and professional rather than revolutionary or overtly Nazi. Their loyalty was traditionally owed to the state, to military discipline, and to tradition, not to racial ideology. Many senior officers were aristocratic, Prussian, and personally skeptical of Nazism, even as they served the regime. The SS was entirely different. Himmler envisioned it as a new racial aristocracy, an elite order of so-called Aryans. SS men swore personal loyalty to Adolf Hitler himself. They were taught that they were not merely soldiers, but political warriors fighting a racial and ideological crusade. To the SS, Wehrmacht officers were relics of a decaying past. Professional, but morally weak. Insufficiently obedient. Insufficiently fanatical. This perceived, wavering loyalty to Hitler provoked deep frustration within the SS ranks. They believed the Wehrmacht lacked the racial hardness required to wage Hitler's war, especially in the East after Operation Barbarossa. Rivalry was not an accident. Nazi Germany thrived on internal competition. Hitler encouraged it. He deliberately prevented any single institution, army or SS, from becoming dominant. In the early years of the war, the Wehrmacht was vast, prestigious, and indispensable. The SS, by contrast, remained relatively small throughout the 1930s. But that was changing. As the SS expanded from a personal bodyguard into a parallel army, tensions intensified. Both organizations competed for manpower, weapons, and resources. The SS resented being subordinated to Wehrmacht command structures. Wehrmacht generals, meanwhile, often viewed SS units as reckless, poorly trained, and prone to atrocities. Himmler actively undermined the army by portraying the SS as more loyal, more ruthless, and more authentically Nazi. This only deepened the hostility. Another major fault line lay in participation in Nazi crimes. While the Wehrmacht was complicit in war crimes, particularly on the Eastern Front, it was not conceived as a genocidal organization in the same way as the SS. The SS, along with the Einsatzgruppen and SS police units, was explicitly tasked with mass murder, ethnic cleansing, and terror. To the SS, any Wehrmacht officer who hesitated, protested, or attempted to apply military law was weak. Complaints about massacres or civilian treatment were dismissed as sabotage or disloyalty. Himmler and senior SS leaders accused the army of lacking the necessary hardness for a war of annihilation. These accusations intensified after 1941, as the invasion of the Soviet Union transformed the conflict into one of total destruction. Then came July 20th, 1944. The failed assassination attempt against Hitler, known as the Stauffenberg plot, was led largely by Wehrmacht officers. It was a military coup, and it failed. The SS responded mercilessly. They rounded up the conspirators. They oversaw brutal interrogations. They carried out executions. The plot cemented SS hatred of the Wehrmacht. Though only a minority of officers were involved, the SS saw it as proof that the Army's traditional elites were fundamentally disloyal. After July 20th, the balance of power shifted. The SS gained sweeping authority over internal security. The German army came under intense surveillance. At its core, the conflict was cultural. The Wehrmacht valued hierarchy, drill, professionalism, and clear chains of command. The SS valued fanatical obedience, political loyalty, and unquestioning brutality. Army officers viewed the SS as savage but inefficient. The SS viewed the army as cowardly, defeatist, and treacherous. As Germany's defeat became inevitable in 1944 and 1945, hatred hardened into violence. SS units blamed the army for retreats, surrenders, and collapsing morale. Some SS formations executed Wehrmacht soldiers for alleged cowardice or defeatism. In Berlin, SS death squads shot soldiers and civilians who refused to fight. They forced the Volkssturm, poorly trained civilian militias, into hopeless battles. Refusal meant death. The SS preferred destruction to surrender. The Wehrmacht increasingly sought to preserve lives by surrendering to the Western Allies. To the SS, this was betrayal. It was treason. In the end, the SS hated the Wehrmacht because the two embodied opposing visions of power within Nazi Germany. The Wehrmacht represented a traditional national army, rooted in professionalism and state service. The SS represented an ideological force built for racial domination and personal loyalty to Hitler. Their rivalry was not a flaw in the system. It was the system. By fostering competition, Hitler ensured loyalty flowed upward, while institutions like the SS and the Wehrmacht viewed one another with suspicion, resentment, and contempt. Thank you for watching. To uncover more hidden stories from the war, please subscribe to The Hidden Past.